Good morning, traders. Today is Wednesday, June 1st. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, what are we looking at here today? Well, yesterday was a balancing day. We know that because the market had a lot of excess at the end of last week. It had a big move up, and often when the market creates a lot of excess, it has to balance off that excess. There's two ways it can do it. It can either pull back down with price and balance off the excess using price, or it can just rotate at higher prices and use time to balance off the excess. So yesterday was essentially just a balancing day where the market was absorbing some of the excess created by this move up. So that to me is a little bit bullish, right? It's bullish in the fact that they didn't need to repair the weakness. They didn't need to repair the excess with price. They were able to do it with time. So that's a little bit bullish to see. Value was also overlapping to higher yesterday, which is a little bit bullish to see, and a sign of a continuation of the trend in value that's happening here. Again, we're ignoring Monday's trade. So from Friday to yesterday, we got a continuation of the uptrend, so that's a little bit bullish to see. So to me, the highest probability here today is either another sideways day inside yesterday's range or a push higher. Obviously, if we get below yesterday's low, I will be looking for the gap fill from Friday's gap. So if we get below 41.03, I will be targeting 40.74 for a gap fill. But other than that, my assumption is we're going to find support inside this area in here today, just like we did in the overnight. And we're just going to rotate sideways, or we may get continuation to the upside if we start to push higher here today. As far as where to watch for the chop, yesterday's range was a big range, and we can chop anywhere inside of there. We can kind of just grind up and down. You can see the overnight pretty much just took one big node here, one big node here, and it just traded back and forth between the two. That is a sign that there is no momentum in the market, that they're uncertain about where they're going to take it. So they're just playing it super safe. So getting above yesterday's high, we can look for continuation to the upside. Getting below yesterday's low, we can look for continuation to the downside. But as long as we're inside yesterday's range, I would expect chop. The market to grind up and down and go sideways. It's also worth just stepping back and taking a look at the daily candles. Remember, we've got this downtrend on the daily, and we got resistance there yesterday. So once again, if we're able to poke through today, that could lead to some bullish continuation to the upside. But if we stay, if we have a rotational day sideways, we may just need to rotate through this sideways, and then we get the breakout to the upside. So overall, I am neutral to bullish. And the market is open. Overnight inventory is net long, so we would expect a counter auction to the downside. All right, there's the test of the overnight high. So the next target to the upside is repairing the week K high we left behind yesterday at 41.5950. Keep in mind, we're in resistance right now. So once we repair this weak reference, we may get that counter auction to the downside. All right, there's the repair of the week reference. All right, so we've got the ticks pulling lower, absorbing that overnight activity, but price is continuing to push higher. So that is bullish to see as well. Super thin volume this morning. Correct NQ did break yesterday's high. So that is bullish to see. We're now looking for support right around, well, basically the opening price, right around 12,737 for continuation higher. Very weird morning today. This is kind of bizarre. Really low volume. Strange random little nodes of volume cliffs. So it's a little bit tricky to read here, but as I've said, if we get above yesterday's high, that is bullish, and we will be looking for support to buy once we do for continuation to the upside. Just very strange to me that we didn't backfill this one level with only 90 contracts. Very weird. But okay, I won't fight the market. You're bullish, I get it. Arthur, good morning to you. Phoenix in the house. Courtman, good morning. Ronald is here. RK Leon. Greg H. T-Bay. Jack is back. Jeremy Jones. Eldora. Phillip. Tyler Durden. Nor Auto Trader in the house. Caffeine, good morning to you. Matthew, welcome. The Shaw is here. Do we got some Feds people speaking today? I don't see it on here, but cool. Oh, here we go. Now we're going to backfill that low volume node. There it is. All right, so there's support all throughout inside yesterday's range. You know, there's lots of little nodes of volume where the market finds support, but the major node is going to be down here around those overnight lows. So at this point, the fact that we failed to get above yesterday's high means the market is not ready to go higher just yet. And we're probably going sideways here for a little bit. Getting some chop. Good morning, Rev, Lamus, Cyrus, John Lash, Xavier, John Wakefield, Anita, Scooball, Chillin' with Dylan, Blue Shirt, 7 Mile, Mickey Man, Boss Man, J Trader, Jeff. Man, the list is getting too big now. I can't keep doing this every day. Welcome, everyone. Happy to have you. Blue Shirt, where does the previous balance area low come from? It was a previous balancing area. Let me zoom out to the daily here. So you can see this was a balance area over here. That's that balance area low. Same thing over here. So again, this is something I was talking about yesterday. Pushing back up into that balance. Yes, it is bullish because we often head to the opposite end, but this downtrend is going to be a stronger thing. So this downtrend is the main focus of the market right now. Can we break through this line and get continuation to the upside? And there's a very real chance we have to just work our way sideways through there, spending a couple days rotating. Chirp tone, when you illustrate moves above a previous day's high, do you look for volume to accumulate before a move up? Is it the same on the downside? You wait for volume? No, that's if you're breaking out of rotation. So if the market is rotational, so for example, yesterday it was rotational, okay, and the market tried to break out above that G period high. The market tried to break out above, but it couldn't bring in any substantial volume up there. And so that breakout failed, and we pulled back into range. When you're looking at a previous day's high or low, it's just a matter of support. Meaning once the market gets above the previous high, does it stay above it? Does it push up here, come back down, and then find support here? I'm not too worried about the volume. It's just, does it get support? If so, I get long for continuation. Of course, you'd always like to see pink candles. Pink candles are a confirmation of a decent amount of volume, but not a priority when getting above a previous day's range. Tyler, you don't think you've sliced through that candle irresponsibly on your downtrend line? No, because the downtrend line was there before the market came there. I put the downtrend line up here, and it just perfectly came and touched it there. So nope, to me that's a good level to watch. It worked this time. It'll probably work again. All right, so pushing into some potential support here. Again, the levels, it's really hard to have exact levels because we're in a balancing area. But just keep an eye on the cumulative. Anywhere there's a little pocket of volume that sticks out, that could be support. And then look at references from previous days and overnights. You got the half back here and the initial balance high from yesterday. So it could be some support there. If not, heading down into this volume node. Chilling with Dylan. Kind of weird how off the NQ and ES are right now. Not really. NQ's a little more bullish. Finding support at yesterday's high. Good taper on the low. Chirp, are pink candles and red candles indicating the percentage of the day's volume? Yeah, so if you look at the volume profile over here on the left, now it's a bit tricky at this moment because we're in the first half an hour of the day, so they're identical. But the one over here on the left, that is the volume for the full day. And the one in the middle, that is the volume for the current 30-minute time period. Again, they're the same thing right now because we're in the first 30 minutes, but you'll see as we go throughout the day the difference. And yeah, red is the top 30% of volume. Pink is the middle 40%. White is the lowest 30%. So over here, it's the top 40% for the day. Over here, it's the top 40% for the current 30-minute time period. Crypto life. Love hearing the birds. Happy to please. I hate them. They're a constant noise. All day and all night. 7-7 Athletic. Do I look at the VIX? No, I do not. I find no edge in looking at the VIX. It's just not my cup of tea. All right, so if we can push our way back through the opening price here at 41.54, once again, we will then look for support at the halfback to try to head back up to the highs. Can we bring in some buyers? Can we get those ticks back above the zero line? All right, so let's test this support. Nope, they don't have it. The chop continues. Chop Fest USA. Jeremy Jones, would you agree that the news just brings in volume? It's subjective to what good news is? Yeah, 100%. My thing with the news is I want to know when something's happening, right? If there's going to be an FOMC meeting or something like that, you know, if a big company like Apple or something is dropping their earnings, you know, something like that. I want to know about it, but I don't pay attention to it at all. Because I've learned from experience that the market's reaction to news is random. So, for example, let's say a company comes out with good earnings one month, right? Or one quarter. Their stock price shoots through the roof. So the next time around, you're sitting there with your finger on the buy button, ready to go. Earnings come out, good earnings once again, and so you buy, and then the market crashes. And they'll say to you, oh, well, the first time, you know, it wasn't priced in, and the second time it was. They'll have an excuse after the fact to why the market reacted completely differently this time than the last time. But the truth is, it's just random. Human beings are random AF. So it's good to know the news is happening so you don't freak out when the chart starts to move around like crazy. But you don't want to try to predict where the market's going to go based on the news, because that is a fool's errand in my experience. And I know there are traders who do that, who trade purely off of fundamentals, but they're like experts in that. I am not. Okay, Leon, bird hater and VIX hater? Oh, Captain. I hate the birds. I hate the VIX. I hate children and babies. I hate puppies and kittens. No, I love puppies. All right, so this volatility would be those PMI numbers, right? So I don't want to guess which way it's going to go, but I don't want to be freaked out that we're getting the tempo and the volume. Breaking that A period low would be a little bit bearish, as it would be initial balance to the downside. So we're now looking for support around 4130s. Johnny, what edge do you find the deltas give you? Picking the ends of auctions, maybe? I use them also at times, but wondering when you see them coming into play. Yeah, to be honest with you, I almost never look at the... He's referring to the volume over here, where there's these positive and negative numbers. That is the delta between the bids and the asks. So yeah, I pretty much only ever look at it at like a high or a low to see if the market is getting support or resistance there. But honestly, I don't look at it that much at all. I could lose this off my chart and it wouldn't affect my trading. Man, NQ trading in a very tight range this morning. That to me is a little bit bullish. They may not have the buyers yet to take the market higher, but they're building up steam. All right, so I got these two areas marked here as the next potential support for the market. Again, it's really hard to have an exact level when the market is grinding around inside a range like this. There's so much support in here. The market could literally turn around anywhere. But I would say where these two gray boxes are, that's the strongest areas of support. So if we're going to stay above the overnight low, we'll likely find support right in here, around 28. If that breaks and we need to repair the weak L period low that we left behind yesterday, I would be looking for support around 16. Also, it's worth noting this has become a liquidation break. We know that because of the thin volume and the fast tempo. Liquidation breaks often retrace themselves right back up to the point where the market broke, which, as we recall, was up here in the A period, right? The market was just slowly grinding around. Everything was great. And then when we broke that A period low, that brought in the selling. So what we can watch for now in terms of a liquidation break is, do new sellers pile on? So is the market able to work its way back up to that A period low without turning any of these candles pink? Or do we try to get back up to that A period low and then we get a bunch of resistance and start to turn candles pink? If we do, we'll look for further downside continuation. A liquidation break often shakes out the weak hands buyers and brings in stronger hands buyers. So if it fails to do that, it would be bearish for continuation to the downside. All right, so we do appear to have new sellers starting to pile on here. That's a little bit bearish to see. Target to the downside is 41.23. Looking for a repair of that weak L period low from yesterday. Getting below the overnight low is a little bit bearish. But we are looking for support right around 16. So we now have two pink candles inside the liquidation. That is a sign of new sellers piling on, looking to take the market lower. Johnny, this TPO chart is so much better than mine. Do they make this for NinjaTrader 8? Not yet, but there is actually a member of the brigade who's working on it. He's making a plugin for NinjaTrader that's going to look exactly like mine. Man, another liquidation. So why aren't you bearish, Charles? The market's moving lower. As I said before, I don't get bearish unless we get below yesterday's low, down there at 41.03, and then get resistance below that low. And the reason is that there's a very good chance we find support right around here and then turn around and head right back up as the market is in balance. So rotating around within yesterday's range would be a very normal market behavior. So to get me fully bearish, they got to break yesterday's low and then get new sellers. So now what we're looking for is that one big green tick that breaks the downtrend as a sign that we may be putting in a low here. Until we break the downtrend in the ticks, it's probably too early to be bullish. Daniel, Charles, are you biased towards a long today? I would say I'm biased towards either sideways or higher today, unless we get below yesterday's low. Like I said, if we get below yesterday's low, okay, come back up and we find resistance there, all bets are off. The market's going lower. But the idea is we created all this excess in here. Now we need to balance off that excess. There's two ways to do it. We can balance it off with time by just rotating at higher prices, or we can balance it off with price. Yesterday, the market gave us a signal. It wants to try to balance it off with time, not with price. So I'm going to assume that's what the market is doing until it proves otherwise. So if we get down below yesterday's low, come back up and find resistance, I'll assume that we need to repair it with price. So the first target will be the gap fill, and then monitoring for continuation lower from there. But if it's just trying to balance off with time, I don't want to get overly bearish while we're still inside yesterday's range, because we could just as easily turn it right back around. Remember, we've got tons and tons of support in here. Okay, I don't love this low because it's not great taper. But if we can get our big green tick, we can start to push back up. Got a low volume node right here around 4120 that needs backfilling. Another one up here at 4133. Da-dum. Da-dum. Things start to get real dangerous if we break yesterday's low. Could get another liquidation. So this is the buyer's moment to defend. OM, greetings from Barcelona. Welcome. Nunez, the deer are back. The deer. Oh, man, yeah, the Q. It's actually still not that bad. Still above the overnight low. Still got value overlapping to higher. So I know it feels very bearish. But remember, price is just an advertising mechanism. It's just moving lower to find buyers. Not necessarily because the world is coming to an end. They also have very thin volume that needs backfilling up here around 12,682. Chris, but it might be that. It might be the end of the world. Yes, it might be. We might get a massive sell-off. All right. Well, with the printing of the C period, we have begun the process of one-time framing lower, which is bearish. We also left all these single prints behind in the B period, which need backfilling. It's a big set of single prints, but it needs backfilling all the way up to basically the break of that liquidation break. So if they fail to backfill these single prints, wherever they get resistance, we can look for another push lower. It's also worth noting that despite the fact that the banner is red, I am not that bearish until we break yesterday's low. We have a pretty good, pretty high probability that we're going to, because this C period low is now weak since it was just one tick from yesterday's low. And the fact that we are one-time framing lower. But I still need to officially see us get below yesterday's low before I get super bearish for continuation to the downside. If we do break yesterday's low, the first target is the gap fill to 40.74. Once the market pulls back down and fills that gap, it could find support there and turn around and head back up. If not, you just monitor for continuation lower. So you just go from each week reference, one after another, as the market works its way lower. So if we don't find support backfilling the gap, we look to repair the week reference at 45. If that doesn't bring in buyers, we look to repair the week reference at 39.67, and so on and so forth until we find support. But that is only after breaking yesterday's low. With that, I shall bid you farewell. Au revoir. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you here tomorrow morning. If you are in the brigade, let's ride. If you're not, you can join the brigade for just $10 a month. And then you can hang out and listen to me talk in my nasally voice all day long. All right, guys, have a good rest of your day.